Hi, everybody. How are you today? How were your classes? How was the frenzy? And Danny, what is a mealy face? I'm afraid to find out. Anyways, our how are bookings? I know it's summer. Bookings are probably down. I definitely had some holes in my schedule today. Tomorrow, I have a 2-hour block of holes. I'd almost rather sleep in for 2 hours. I have like 2 classes and then 2 hours of holes. Let's hope they get booked short notice. I read everything. I was able to read the chat before I came on, so really sorry to hear about your no-show, Evelyn. I can imagine you're probably a lot more tired with what you have going on. Yes, I set 2 alarms myself, and I think I told some of you the other day I heard one of my alarms going off in the middle of the afternoon. So I'd obviously done the AM PM thing. So I was glad that day I had 2 alarms. Um, let's see. I worked at Gogokid today, you guys. I had a phonics class and I have not worked there in a while. So I I was nervous. I was nervous just like you are when you have your first class because I hadn't worked there in so long. I I had a wonderful kid. We did phonics. He knew all the answers. Um anyways, I knew this because I've worked at Gogokid before. Like I said, it's been a while, and Danny talks about this a lot. But Gogokid has way, way, way less slides than VIPKID. And when I first started with both companies, I liked that a lot better because I like to extend. But I think I've gotten used to the VIPKID way because I work for them more. So yeah, I had to slow down. So thank you, Marianne. Yes, it did go well. I decided, when you give awards every 5 minutes, I added the dice game along to the gems and the award I was already giving him, just to fill some time. So I got Danny this one, ask me a question. And he asked me what state I live in. You guys, most kids don't understand that we have different states in the United States, and if you talk about a state or say a state, they have no idea what you're talking about. So that was really cool. So I thought he had to have been to the United States. So he told me he'd been to Texas and California. So that was really cool. I knew he had to have been there when he said that. Yes. So I was happy to have an easy, good class. My first time back in months at Gogokid. Texas. I can't really say much about it. Haven't spent a lot of time there. Yeah, did the new offline, okay. The new offline parent feedback option. Okay. Oh, I should also talk about, I know there's not a whole lot of people here who work for Gogokid and Feedback Panda, but oh boy, Feedback Panda. So what I understand about the new Gogokid way of doing things is that they no longer have the numbers, the student ID numbers for Gogokid. And so you have to press this button in Feedback Panda that says, I've had this student before, and it looks for a student with the same name, the same birthday. So that's going to be a pain. Has anyone said anything on any of the Hutong, not the Hutong, whatever it is in Gogokid, their fresh desk about bringing back the student ID numbers for those of us who use Panda? Plus, they don't have teacher-to-teacher feedback, so you really need Panda. But anyways, I don't really have regulars there, so it's not affecting me yet, but it could. And point to my state. Yes, you know what? During times like Chinese New Year, I've taken down my maps. I have missed them because you guys know the level 5 where they're talking about traveling across the United States, or if we talk about states, I actually reference and use this map. So I was able to say, oh, you live in Texas and California. Let's see. And remember, guys, write in big letters if you're writing to me because there's a lot of chat going on. So to work at Gogokid, I don't want it to affect my VIPKID bookings. So when I get a booking at Gogokid, it means I have to get up earlier. So I still had an okay amount of classes today. I had 8, but that was with breaks in between. I've already done all my feedback. Gosh, I don't know what I'll do with that 2-hour break tomorrow. I might go ahead. Maybe I'll have my first class at Cambly if they don't get booked short notice. So yes, let's see. What are you guys talking about? Grace. Hi, Grace. Welcome. You're new here. You haven't had any students at Gogokid. Okay, do you work for VIPKID too? Grace, I saw a video recently. I think her name is Teacher Danielle, and she did a video on increasing your bookings at Gogokid. Hi, Ed Nace is here, everybody. The author of the book himself. All right. Yes. Okay, that's wonderful. I am doing the speaking stage today. I accidentally got ahead of myself. I changed the title and I changed the thumbnail, but sometimes it takes a while to update in the YouTube. It's really good to see that you're here. So when I start talking about the book, if I say anything wrong, you can give me your advice. What did you mean when you said that, or something like that? All right. So, anyways, was everybody's classes good today? How was your weekend? I have a teacher, or I got a teacher IT over the weekend. I'm trying to fight that. You guys, I'm so not tech savvy. So I need to find my folder where my screenshots are, because I have this student and she has a history of this. She will leave the classroom. She'll just leave. And this happens all the time. This has happened with other teachers. And she did that to me and I got a teacher no-show. I had 10 classes that day and all the other classes I had went perfect before and after her. So anyways, I didn't read the response from VIPKID right before I came on because I didn't want to be mad. But yes, I'm fighting that. Anyways, so today I will be talking about the speaking phase. So last week we did the listening phase. Hi, Natalie. Welcome. I'm seeing a lot of new people here today. I'm really happy about that. If you're new, tell me what company or companies you work for. I think most people probably work for VIPKID, but if you work for another one too, let me know. And write in big letters if you're talking to me. Glad you had good classes today, Natalie. Okay, so last week I was talking about the listening stage, and I was talking about one of my students. His name is Raccoon, and he's a level 5. So I'm pretty sure he missed the listening stage because he can't answer questions off the script unless they're in the script. I actually had him today. So what I'm trying to do with him is I try to ask a lot of questions outside the lesson. I mean, it's about the lesson, but it's not the target sentence in the lesson. So today we were talking about stranger danger and, what you should do if somebody calls you and you're home alone, or if you should get in the car with a stranger. So, Heather is Natalie. Okay. And hi, Cindy. Okay. It was a scenario. If you guys have taught this lesson, you'll know, where somebody's knocking at the door and she says, "No, I'm not going to let you in." So I ask questions like, should she have even told him she was home alone? Or what if I call you and I say, "Hi, Raccoon, can I speak to your mom?" Trying to get him to think, "Oh, okay, I shouldn't tell her I'm home alone." So anyways, talking about the lesson, but trying to ask questions outside of the lesson. So what he'll do is he'll take a really, really long time to pause and think about it. And then he'll say, no. Like, he'll give me a one-word answer, but I don't push it because that question wasn't one of the target questions, in the lesson anyway. And I know that's really hard for him. Ed, if you have any other suggestions, I know you had some in your book too, of things to ask him and do to just get him to talk outside the script, let me know in big letters here. L. Jankovic, I hope I'm saying your name. Oh, Laura, 6th contract with VIPKID. All right. Well, welcome. I'm happy you've watched the old lives. And I'm glad you're here. And you've been here probably longer than anybody else. If anyone's had more than 6 contracts, let us know. So you can give us some advice on what you think. I'm guessing you must teach all levels. So anyways, yes, that's what I'm doing to work with him on just getting outside of that script. Today, we are talking about the speaking phase. So this was a good one for me to read about and talk to you about because I'm pretty new to the lower levels. I started off with VIPKID. I've been here almost a year. I keep stalking the website to see if my new contract is there yet. Okay, Ed said, tend to be goofy. Are we strangers? Are you and your mom strangers? Okay, those are good ones. Those are good ones. Okay, good. I should take note of this or watch this later, and I'm going to write these down. Are you and this potato strangers? Okay, yes. I remember from last week when I was reading this on the air, you were saying like you were changing it and making it then totally not make sense. Yes. So anyways, when I first started, I did 3 through 5 for months. I started in August, end of August. And then finally in January, I started teaching level 2. So it was quite a bit of time where I was only teaching the older kids. So I had to get used to the speaking phase or when to give them grace that they can't read. And I know, Ed, in your book, you were saying that Ed actually did his own curriculum for the kids in China when he lived there, and you were saying that you start teaching them one word at a time, and you would have a picture and you would have the written word, but the written word was just, as if to help even more, but you didn't expect them to be able to read it. So anyways, Ed, here's my question for you. How VIPKID pretty much, if they start in level 2, if they haven't had level 1 before, expects them to start reading right away. So how do you, when you're teaching it, rectify that? They need to do the speaking phase first and get through that and not be expected to read, but VIPKID kind of teaches in that way. So what do you do? Okay, so the speaking phase, there's several different parts. I have it here in my notes. I'm going to get it up. These are direct quotes from Ed. All right, so first you have the silent learning. That's what we talked about last week, the listening. Then they just start parroting words, like one words at a time. Apple, you say apple, they say apple. Hello, Jimmy, if you're talking to them. They just repeat everything you say, which if you start in lower level 2, that's what they're doing, and it's not wrong. They really can't be expected to read at that age or stage left. And if you took the TESOL with VIPKID, it talks a little bit about this too, about the listening stage. And then go into short sentences, or maybe if you say what's your name, Jimmy will repeat what's your name. But he said don't worry if he's repeating that, it's still a milestone. He's still parroting and copying you. So Ed, VIPKID expects them to do full sentences from the start, at least in level 2, not in level 1, and some kids start at level 2. So how do we do that? Ed says, I hope they do their homework. Most of my students come to class already knowing more or less how to read. Class is focusing on speaking, listening, refining their reading. Yes. And you say that in this book too, that the spelling, the reading, it all should be done ahead of time so that you're working on the speaking with them. Actually, I wish I had a link. There was a video I saw recently. I think her name's Teacher Carol. I hope I'm not getting her name wrong, but I only discovered her recently because on a Facebook group, everybody was posting their Facebook pages. But she actually did a class with Nancy Taylor, where she was teaching Nancy Taylor Chinese. She lived in China and doing it the same way that we teach our students English. And I learned from watching that because I got to see like how I was learning is the same way, we teach our students. And I do think it's so much more effective. And Nace talks about in his book, and I don't have the exact quote, but you talked about how most of us in high school, like, how did we learn a language? We started just learning a whole bunch of vocabulary we had to memorize. We had to read and write. We didn't do a listening stage or a speaking stage. We weren't like using it in conversation. Most of us has forgotten most of what we learned in high school, right? If you still remember whatever language you took in high school, let me know. Unless you also went over and lived in that country or something. But, if you only just learned it in high school and that's all you did, tell me if you still remember any of it or a lot of it. Okay, so yes, let me go back to the different stages. So we had the silent learning, the parroting of the words, then the parroting of sentences, then dialogue answering with single words. So, you maybe can talk to them and they can answer you with like a one word kind of answer. Then a dialogue answering with sentences. So after they're able to do one word, maybe they can talk back and forth to you. How are you? I am fine, which our students do, and answering in full sentences. All right, number 6, expressing thoughts and asking questions. Now they're not just, repeating the language, but they actually can express their thoughts in another language and they can ask you questions. So as you get upper level 2, I would say level 3, they're really able to do this. And then 7 is free talk. So they're able to really like talk to you, which is the part I'm missing for this one kid I keep talking about. Maybe I should recommend free talk classes for him. I probably should. Maybe next time I have a class, I've already done my feedback. I should do that. So what do you guys think of this? Do you find this in your teaching? And Ed, also let me know, VIPKID, they kind of expect full sentences from the beginning. So, but I guess they are parroting you. So anyways, parroting progresses into simple dialogue. I'm reading from Ed's book. You need to be aware of the milestones and guide them carefully. Along the way, you can have students repeat anything after you. Okay, this is an example he gives of being dramatic, but it'll get them to remember, to understand what you're saying. If I drop a prop, I dramatically throw my hands on my head and say, oh no. If he can repeat this, wonderful. It's easy and accessible enough. And he has a clear idea of what I'm talking about, even though he has no idea what oh or no actually mean. And parents love it. He is confidently using the language. Simple dialogue develops into more complex dialogue, then into brief conversations where the kid actually begins to express his own thoughts in whatever English he can muster. The grammar will be poor, but you will understand and help him learn to say it correctly. This phase can easily overlap into reading and writing phases, and of course, listening continues to happen, but most emphasis should be placed on developing that good feel for the language through vocal interaction between teacher and student. Okay, so yes, so like I said, that one video I was watching of Nancy Taylor taking a Chinese class, I was listening, and then yes, you just begin to pick it up because they just keep repeating. And I know we do that with our students, but like I've never been on the other end of that kind of a class since, I learned in high school the same way all of us did, just reading it. All right, so Ed says full sentences. Yes, the goal in VIPKID is to always get them to complete sentences. Some of the first lessons have super long ones too, but if they can't do it, we scaffold it. Okay, so like, what was one level 2 I had today? Like, This chair is white. Or do you like the white chair? So if they just give me a full sentence like, yes, I do. I mean, that is a full sentence. Maybe just let it go and not, yes, I like the white chair. All right. So then he says, which ends up getting them to the goal faster than if we just had them repeat the full thing over and over, reduce the length, building up to the full thing. That makes sense because a lot of times I am thinking, it is hard to think this way, Ed, because, VIPKID structures that we do this. But yes, like I'm having them repeat this long sentence. Do they know what we're talking about? I like the black lamp. No, I don't like the like if yes, I do. No, I don't. At least is still, still a full sentence. Okay, let's see what you guys are talking about. Grace, I watched videos and took quizzes. Okay. The supplementary courses. Okay. Not sure what you guys are talking about. Paula, that's what I call chunking the sentence into smaller parts. So what you're saying is you still do the full sentence, but you just break it up. So Ed Nace says, I like that. You mean like just, yes, I do. And yes, it's easy to chunk them according to how we would phrase it. Okay, yes. I was just saying, I don't know, like we could still get them to answer in a full sentence, but without doing that really long thing, unless we think they can handle it, because some of them are more advanced than others. Ed said, I like that. Okay. The term chunking. All right, yes. So I see you guys are also talking about supplementary courses. Hi, Amber. Like I said, I'm happy to have new people here. Amber, I think you work for VIPKID and Gogokid, right? So yes, you guys, the supplementary courses have been what saved me. So I have free talk tomorrow at Gogokid. I've been doing a lot of grammar, TOEFL. What did today I had 2 TOEFL. Been doing a lot of grammar, doing a lot of the leveled reading and phonics, a lot of those classes. Okay. And Nace, one funny thing that will happen if you're not looking at one funny thing that will happen if you're not looking at the words written down. Okay, I can't wait to hear. What's the funny thing that's going to happen? If you chunk words together, the words that are joined together in our speech, students may think some chunks are actually one word. Right. And will they think it's a separate sentence too? And I think this is what Ed is saying, I'd rather do a shorter sentence and have them understand what they're saying than do a long sentence and they're not even understanding what they're talking about. I'd rather them be able to know back and forth what they're talking about. Marianne said, free talk to okay, I didn't get voice of VIPKID. I don't want to sing. I don't. Yes. And okay, Ed said, for example, when we taught nouns, we teach it with the article a cow, a horse, a lollipop. Then when they put them into sentences, they don't drop the article. That's a great idea because, yes, of course, we all know that's one of the biggest issues they have since they don't have articles. Heather says, I have a ton of phonics classes myself. Yes. And I like when I get a phonics class and then all the teacher to teacher feedback is like, he's struggling with the reading or he or she can't do it. Because then you're able to break down each sound with them because in a regular class, you have other stuff to go over. I've recommended a lot of kids for phonics classes and I say like to the LP, I think they'd benefit because you have other things to get through and you can't break down each one. But Ed says in his book, if you have a level 3 and they can't do basic phonics, just teach them the phonics. Start where they are. I mean, that is the basis for everything. And then Ed said later they do not need to learn their separate words, but it's helpful. Okay, yes, I think that's a great idea, especially because dropping articles is one of the worst. When the article's written down on the slides, the articles have to be taught more explicitly and might seem more confusing. Like, what in the world is letter A doing there? Okay. Some are regulars that are MC. Okay. I don't know. You must have been responding to something, Heather. I'm not sure what you're saying. Since there's a delay, you guys type in full sentences because sometimes I don't know what you're responding to when I read. But that's a really great idea for a cow, a lollipop, because they have a lot of trouble with that. So Ed, it might have been because of you. I have 2 5-apple reviews I want to tell you guys about today. So those of you who connect with me on Facebook already know the first one. Okay, so I did a video back in November. It was about a 3-apple review. It did get invalidated, but you know, I just moved on. Never saw these people again. Well, they came to my class one other time after that. I taught it, you know, reluctantly. Well, I mean, I had to. I don't want a teacher no-show, but I did my best. I was professional. But I haven't seen them in a while. So they booked a class with me. I was like, oh no. And I knew because of what I wrote in the teacher-to-teacher feedback. The class was over 6 months ago. So VIPKID tells you you've never even, you know, you've had 0 classes with the kid, but I could see my teacher-to-teacher feedback. And this is why I always do teacher-to-teacher feedback, even if it's just the reward, because it tells me when the last time I've been there was. So I taught this class, and Ed, I used your advice. This is a level 3 girl who was like she should be in level 2. She couldn't do the basic phonics. So Ed, because of what you said, I decided I was going to focus on the phonics and teach her. If she you know, said a word with the short O sound, it was a short A word, I would write it on the whiteboard and go over it letter by letter. And I didn't stress about it because I was like, you know, I was using your advice. I got a 5-apple from them and they said I was very patient and they loved it. So thank you, Ed, for that advice. Just if you have a level 3 who's still doing phonics, teach phonics. You know, she's not going to, if she's learning about a city and a farm, but she doesn't know the basic phonics, she's not going to be able to keep progressing anyway. You've got to learn that. That's the basis for all reading. So let's see. What are you guys saying? I love your chats. Oh, thank you, Grace. I'm glad to have new people here. Some are regulars that are MC. You mean some of your phonics or other, you know, supplementary kids are also in your regular classes? I definitely have that too. Danny said, good to suggest that. Yes, because sometimes there's classes where like, I want to do it even more, but you got to get through the slides. Heather says they don't take another phonics. Yeah, I don't know. I can at least, you can suggest it, whether they take your advice or not. Danny says, Kelly, do you find only having one, you're always talking to me about the one headphone on your ear is okay. Yes, I've been able to hear fine. I have a volume adjuster. Like I said, I like to be able to hear the world around me too. If something happened in the house, an emergency, my kids are older, but still, I want to be able to hear them. Heather says, must be LP suggestions for students to try. Yes. Well, I don't know. You could probably write it in the feedback if you wanted to too. I did that with one kid. I had a level 2 who like had an assessment and got everything wrong. And yeah, I suggested phonics in the feedback. Yay, Kelly, phonics are important. Yes, definitely. And then Kim says, I have an L4 that is weak in phonics, and we went over in our class. I focused on phonics and building his reading. I get 5 apples in rebooking. Yes. Oh, one thing, like, so sometimes I'll have a level 4 and they're not bad at phonics. Like they read fine. They're in the right level. They have no problem with phonics. But I think you just read in a hurry and you're not thinking. So I'll have a student MET and they'll say meat. At a level 4, usually I circle the word and tell them the right pronunciation, but a level 4, you should know. So I circle the word and I say, is that a long E or a short E? And they'll say a short E, and I'll say, try that again. And then, they'll get, because at level 4, I feel like basic 3-letter short vowels, you shouldn't be getting wrong. Like, I'm going to make you re-sound it out. Let's see what everyone's talking about. What serious could mean in Chinese? Ed, if you're still here, go ahead and answer that. Ed lived in China and knows Chinese. I know it's a good thing, Amber. A lot of teachers talk about that on the Facebook page. Serious is a good thing. It doesn't mean serious the way that we're serious. It means you're serious about your work. You're doing a good job. But Ed can probably give you a better explanation. Answer Amber's question if you can. Paula also uses one headphone, and I'm not as loud. I can hear myself. Yes. Yeah, I don't like not being able to hear the world around me. They like your serious. Okay. Okay, Kim says this one started in L4 and should be L3. He's now to VIPKID. He struggles with short vowel sounds. I've also taught him phonics and grammar. Well, that's good. At least he's taking some of those supplemental courses that will help him. Does anyone teach proper pronunciation? I find that class, there's just not enough slides. I've learned to start playing games like the dice game throughout to make it last longer. And I know Ed said in his book, you should never, ever, ever think of it as filling time. That's not how you should think of it. So if you have a kid that's advanced, you're trying to get as much out of the slides as possible. You never think of it as filling time. I tried to get my mindset off thinking of it that way. There's sometimes it's still hard. Sometimes you still get way through the lesson too fast and you're trying to think how to fill time, but I'm trying not to think of it that way anymore. There are actually 2 serious tags with VIPKID. Okay, what are they? Okay, there, Ed gave his answer. Okay, and I can't read Chinese. It is a good thing. You're serious about doing a good job. You're doing great. You're legit. Okay. Yes, the dice game is life, Danny. It's always what I play with students at the end. If you have extra time, or like I said today, what I could already tell it was going fast, I just start playing it in the middle too. Yes, Danny left her video for the dice game. It's great to get the kids talking too. Like I said, like if I had never said, ask me a question, and he said, what state do you live in? I would have never had that conversation with him. And then Ed said, you can try to find those 2 characters in the Chinese part of your feedback. Okay. Okay, there's another one, you guys. There's another where the feedback where there's 2 tags. Okay, so there's patience and there's sufficient patience. What is the difference? So both times I've gotten sufficient patience. It's been a 5 apple, so I'm sure it's not bad, but what is the difference between patience and sufficient patience? Maybe you can help us out here, Ed, because I'm just like, well, what is the difference? Why not just say patient? I don't know. And I thank you for being here, Ed. I'm so glad that you can be too. If you haven't already, guys, give me a like and a thumbs up. Oh, there was also one thing I wanted to bring up to your attention, you guys. So did you guys know that phonics classes actually can have assessments? I did not know this. So apparently I had a phonics class that was an assessment today, and I didn't fill it out as I went along like I would a normal assessment. I had no idea it was assessment or that you could even have an assessment for phonics. I just did the lesson as normal. And then when I went to fill out the feedback, I'm like, oh, this was an assessment. But luckily, I had a lot of breaks in my schedule, so he's pretty fresh in my mind. And this particular kid was one of those that got every single answer right, didn't struggle with anything. So I literally just gave him, the top answer for everything because he was that kind of student. But honestly, so good thing I didn't have to say, oh, I don't remember. Amber says, okay, good. I'm like, I don't feel like serious at all when I'm making silly voices talking with animals. Yes, like, so you don't know how many people bring that up on the Facebook pages. Go to one of the Facebook pages for VIPKID and Gogokid and type in serious, and you'll probably see a whole bunch of posts come up with people asking the same question. Yep, it's not at all like the opposite of fun, like our word. Okay, so if you guys get serious or get your tag is serious. Heather says, I can't remember what lesson it is. Okay. And Ed said, they have that word too, but it's a different word. Okay, yes. Marianne, I love the phonics classes. It serves a great purpose. I do too. I've heard people on the Facebook pages say that it's boring. But I feel like if you take a kid, especially if all the teacher to teacher is like, he's struggling, he can't read, then you can break down each word with him without having to worry about all the other things on the slides you're supposed to be going through, and just focus on that. And the best is when, like, you really feel like by the end of your class, they had a breakthrough, like, oh, now they're saying the long A right. You're able to go through it. I'm trying to find my whiteboard. You're able to go through it, and sometimes you'll have a student that'll say the word right, but then they get to reading it in the passage and they can't say it. So they're still saying this as back. And I'm like, I'm hearing ah. That's an A sound, So I really like the way that just in phonics, you can just focus on that. Like I said, I've never had a kid that thought it was too easy. It's probably the kids that need it who are recommended, which is the good thing. Today, I learned delicious. What do you mean? You taught delicious, or you learned how to say delicious in Chinese? Ed, Danny is trying to learn Chinese through her students. I'm trying too, but I'm not very good at it. I did teach the teacher a Chinese word today. I couldn't even tell you guys. I couldn't tell you the word. And she learned to add duh to the, I also learned to add duh to the end of things. My one regular is super advanced and loves to teach me things. Okay, Ed also talks about this in his book. One of the reasons that our students add sometimes an extra vowel or syllable at the end of words is because that's what they do in Chinese. So that's why you get a kid who might say fruta, mita. Actually, Ed, I have a question for you. So I have a level 2 who does that. How much would you focus on that with a level 2? They're still pretty low level. I've tried different things to get him to stop and he won't. I feel like he's a little bit young and I shouldn't push the issue. What do you think? I've tried, writing the word out and crossing off duh, writing the root fruit with duh at the end and crossing off duh. And I don't want him to be frustrated. I haven't had him in a while, but what do you think? Actually, Ed has a passage in his book. Now, I don't have the direct quote, but he first goes to China and he goes to a Chinese class and they put a duh on the end of every word. So I think, now I forgot I think they said, what is your name or how are you? Say in the feedback. I wasn't planning on talking about this part of the book ahead of time, so I didn't have a direct quote, but they added an to the end and you had no idea what they were saying because obviously they had practiced and you didn't know what to say to them. So Ed said, do it, but maybe just not as long of a time. Like just try once. And then if he doesn't get it, keep moving. Yeah, you don't want to frustrate him. Yeah. What's your name? Okay, that's what it was. What's your name? And he had no idea what they were saying, and and they were very proud. So guys, that is their Chinese teacher in China teaching them to say that like that because they don't know the proper English. So that's where we come in with our native accent and helping them get rid of these things. Language is so fun. It's beautiful. Yes. So at Christmas time, I saw an aunt of mine that she always hosted exchange students, and she still keeps in touch with a lot of them. So she had, I think, at least one from China. She may have had two. But she had said that she wished her exchange student had told her she wished she had learned a lot of this English. Like, she didn't learn how to say everything the proper way, and she wished that she had. So I'm really glad we can provide this through VIPKID, Gogokid, iTutor, wherever you work. And it is a beautiful connection. Yes. So yeah, that's good. So that I don't have a lot else to say about the speaking stage. Next week we will do reading. Let's see. Amber says I need to get better at proper phonics. I have to be careful with with Southern. Oh, I can imagine. So when I was new, the one thing I did spend money on is I bought a bunch of flashcards at the dollar store. So the ones with, the phonics are the best ones that I have. I have one with every long and short vowel sound. So if the kid, it's MET and he says mat, I say, wait, I'm hearing like apple. Is that an I use these cards so much. I want to hear an like egg. Danny wrote some Chinese. Whale for well. Actually, you guys, one of the sight words in level 3 is while. And I always get out my picture of a whale and I say, is this while? And sometimes they say yes. And I'm like, no, this has an A, that has an I, because they think it's whale. Okay. Yes, but this also not just has the long and short vowel sounds. If you find these flashcards, like it'll have things like, sorry, I'm looking at this the opposite, the CH. I have the S blends with several of my level 3s, and actually with my phonics at Gogokid today, and I have cards with, the L blends, also the S blends, also the L blends, SL, BL. It has everything. PL, plus you can use this. A lot of times you need an airplane, like level 1 or a lot of, but also for PL. So this was one of the best flashcards I got. I got at the dollar store. I hear it a lot with egg. They say ag. They also, at Nace, you talk about this in your book, they do the long E sound for the I. So same thing. I hold up my card with long I. I say, no, I want to hear this. I'm hearing E like B, and I want to hear I or I. And Marianne has diagraph cards. Yes, and you teach more lower levels where you're teaching the phonics, right? Those are awesome cards. They are. The dollar store, you guys. So I actually have several bookings, 4 or 5, I think 6 bookings with Gogokid over the next week with the supplementary courses. So I'm really glad I got that certification. I recommend it. Marianne says, school supplies are coming out. Look for the cards at Dollar Tree, Walmart. Yes. Well, that makes sense. I actually bought these last year. I got hired with VIPKID and Gogokid right at the end of the summer. So that's when they would have been out. I have them all week. Yes, they're really booking, and they're booking ahead of time. So if you don't have those certifications at Gogokid and you're not getting a lot of bookings, I recommend that. Okay, so anyways, I don't have much else to say about the speaking phase or my classes or anything. Okay, yeah, I know. I already told you guys before, my kids are going back to school early, which I'm really not happy about. This is a super short summer, so already a month they're going to be going back to school, and we just got out June 15th. So really not happy about that. But all right, guys. Well, tomorrow I will see you. Marianne is going live, so I will see you at Marianne's live. I will see everybody at your lives, and I will see you next week at my live. We start the 9th of August. Are you sure? Wait, the 9th. That's my daughter's birthday. I thought that was on the weekend. Anyways, we start on the 12th. And so, yeah, which is early. Last year we started after Labor Day. So this is after Labor Day, and this year starting 3 weeks before that. So that's a big jump. All right. If each student's, yeah. All right, guys. I hope you guys have a good week. And those of you that go to other people's lives, I'll see you and talk to you there. All right, no problem. I'm not going to try to say goodbye in Chinese. I know I butcher it, Danny. Ed will probably laugh at me too. So, all right, thanks. Thanks, guys. Bye. See you. Thanks for coming, Ed. I really appreciate it. Bye.